Hello friends, this is Sara and today, I'm going to share a story that truly shook me. A story so personal, so painful that I cried while listening to it. And now, I want to share it with you. I visited Willow Glen Old Age Home last week. Not for a report, not for charity, but for something deeper. I went to meet a man who once left his mother in this very place. And years later, chose to live here himself. His name is Mr. Harris. Thin, quiet, thoughtful eyes, and a voice that feels like it's been holding a storm for decades. I found him sitting by a large window, watching the rain fall with a kind of stillness that only old hearts carry. He wore a soft beige sweater, and his hands rested on the arms of his wheelchair like they'd accepted every consequence of his past. Mr. Harris greeted. He smiled faintly. "No one calls me that anymore," he said. "Around here, I'm just room 11. I sat beside him and gently turned on my recorder. "I'm Sara," I said. "I was hoping to hear your story." He looked out the window again, rain tapping lightly against the glass. Then, as if unlocking something buried, he spoke. "I left my mother here 26 years ago," I told her. "The house is under renovation, Amy. Just 8 to 10 days, you'll be back home soon." He gave a soft, sad smile. But she knew. Mothers always know. There was a deep silence. "I used to visit," he continued. "Brought her food, combed her hair, listened to her talk. But my wife was young, impatient. I married her against my mother's wishes. She said the girl was too modern, too free. And maybe she was right." He paused, his fingers trembling slightly. "Life happened. Work got busier. My visits stopped. Thought I'd make it up later. But later never came." He pointed at the corner of the room. A simple iron-framed bed sat there now. "She died here. Alone. In this very room." My heart clenched. She used to tell me. "The water's never warm. The fan just makes noise. The pillow smells like medicine." And I never fixed any of it. I swallowed hard, trying not to cry. He turned toward me, and suddenly, his eyes had the sharpness of a man who had carried his guilt for years. "You know, Sara," he said softly, "I drank cold water here. I bore the heat. I slept with the same smell of old medicine on my pillow. Chose this room 'cause this is where I left her. I needed to feel it too. Every bit of it." My voice barely came out. "Why?" "Because I raised my sons soft," he said. "They can't survive this place. But I had to. 'Cause I made my mother survive it. And now this is mine to bear." He looked away, the rain still falling outside. His words stayed with me. They still do. This wasn't just a story about an old man. It was about regret, karma, and the invisible threads that tie us to the people we abandon. And this was only the beginning. The morning after our conversation, I returned to Willow Glen, not for an interview, just to see him. Mr. Harris was already outside, wrapped in a gray shawl, slowly pushing his wheelchair down a narrow path in the back garden. I stayed back quietly, not wanting to disturb whatever moment he was chasing. The path led to a small, almost hidden section of the yard, where the grass grew a little taller and the trees leaned in like they were keeping secrets. And there was a single old headstone. No grand decoration, no plastic flowers, just a fresh marigold, placed gently at the base. He leaned forward and whispered something. I couldn't hear it from where I stood, but his lips moved slowly, like a prayer. Or maybe an apology. I waited until he turned to leave. "Mr. Harris," called gently. He didn't look surprised to see me. In fact, he smiled. "You followed me," he said. "I did. I hope that's okay." He nodded and gestured toward the stone. "That's her. My mother. She's buried here. Died here. Alone because of me." I didn't say anything. Couldn't. He looked at the marigold. "I bring her one every day. They say the dead don't care for flowers. But I do it anyway. Not for her forgiveness. For mine." His voice cracked again, just like it had yesterday. I used to think she was dramatic, he said softly. Said the food was tasteless. Said no one looked at her. Said the air was too heavy. I thought she was just bitter. But now, he stopped. Now I get it. This place doesn't kill you with cruelty. Kills you with absence. With forgetting. I asked, do your sons know you live here now? He gave a short laugh. Dry, sad, hollow. They think I moved to the mountains. Sent them pictures once from a Google search just to make it real. I didn't want them to feel guilty. Or worse, responsible. He looked at me, eyes heavy but clear. I'm not here because they left me. I'm here because I left someone first. I'm here to complete the circle I broke. For a moment we both stood there, silence heavier than any words we could have exchanged. Then he asked quietly, do you think she forgives me? I replied, I think she's listening. He nodded once and turned his chair back toward the building. As he rolled away, the wind shifted. A single marigold petal lifted and floated in the air. I stayed by the grave a little longer, and for the first time, cried. We were sitting in the old rec room of Willow Glen. Smelled like dust and boiled tea. A soft radio was playing somewhere, a song from the 70s, distant and sad. Mr. Harris stared at the floor for a long time before he finally spoke. You know, Sara, he said, I thought love could fix everything. I waited, letting him open up in his own time. I married young, he continued. She was half my age. Wild spirit. Beautiful. I thought I was lucky. My mother warned me. Said love that arrives in rebellion often burns too hot. He chuckled bitterly. But I didn't listen. I was a grown man, in love and foolish. I chose her over my mother, over tradition, over the woman who raised me. He paused. I didn't speak. She couldn't stand my mother. Said she was dramatic, too demanding. Said her presence filled the house with guilt. So one day I made the worst decision of my life. I drove my mother here and told her it was temporary. His jaw tightened. She didn't argue. She just looked at me. And in that look, I saw everything I was about to lose. But I ignored it. I thought I had time to fix it all later. I thought I'd visit her every week. He turned toward the window. But weeks became months, then years. I got busy with work. My wife got bored. She left me one summer morning. Said she was done living in the shadow of a ghost. Took her things and walked out. He laughed once. Not out of humor. Out of disbelief. My sons were already growing distant by then. They had her eyes. Her spirit. Her coldness. I leaned forward. Did they know about their grandmother? I told them she died early, he said. It was easier. Cleaner. He rubbed his hands together slowly, as if trying to scrub the years off them. After my wife left and the boys moved out, I started to feel it. The quiet. The kind my mother must have drowned in. I tried to move on. New house. New city. But no matter where I went, that echo followed me. What echo? I asked. He turned to me with eyes that were wet but steady. The sound of her voice, not angry, just disappointed. Silence fell between us. Then he said something I'll never forget. You know what hurts the most? It's not that I was a bad son. It's that I had so many chances not to be. And I still failed. I felt tears rise again. I came back here on my own, he said. No one forced me. My sons don't even know. This room. This old fan. Even the cold water, I chose it. Not for comfort. For punishment. I wanted to feel what I made her feel. He looked away, voice nearly a whisper. You can live without love, Sara. But regret feeds on your soul. I didn't know what to say. So I did what I think she would have done. I reached out and held his hand. And for a moment we just sat there. Two strangers, bound by a ghost neither of us had ever met. But both of us deeply felt. The sky was heavy that day. Dark clouds sat low, and the wind whispered through the trees like someone exhaling memories. Mr. Harris had asked for me specifically that morning. "I need to go one last time," he said. "To see her." I pushed his wheelchair down the same path I had once followed from a distance, the garden behind Willow Glen, where forgotten graves slept in silence. He held a marigold flower in one hand and a small folded piece of paper in the other. When we reached the stone, he didn't cry. He just breathed in, slow, deep, like he was finally ready to speak to her the way he should have years ago. "She never asked for much," he said to me quietly. "She wanted hot water, a working fan, a pillow that didn't stink of medicine, just dignity, that's all. And I didn't give it." He leaned forward and gently placed the marigold on her grave. "Ma, I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm not here to erase what I did. I know I can't. I hope you know I came back. I lived here. I drank the same water. I slept in the same bed. I felt what you felt." He unfolded the paper in his hand, a letter written in shaky handwriting. "Do you want to read it out loud?" I asked gently. "No," he said, smiling faintly. "Some things are just between a mother and her son." And then something happened. The wind, which had been still all morning, picked up slightly, just enough to rustle the trees. The clouds parted, only a little, and a streak of sunlight fell gently across the stone. He closed his eyes. "I used to think she haunted me," he whispered. "But now I think she waited." I felt my throat tighten. "You're a good man, Mr. Harris," I said. He looked at me, really looked at me. "No," he said softly. "But I'm trying to die as one." We stayed there a little while longer. No more words. No more confessions. Just silence. And in that silence I felt it. Not guilt, not grief, but release. Something had lifted. Later that week I got a call from Willow Glen. Mr. Harris had passed away peacefully in his sleep. They said he looked calm, lighter, as if a great weight had finally left his chest. I returned once more to the garden. I brought marigolds, 2 of them, one for her, and one for the man who tried, even at the very end, to make things right. This was the story of Mr. Harris. And now that I've told it, I hope it reaches someone who needs to hear it. Maybe a son who's been too busy. Maybe a daughter who's been distant. Maybe you. Don't wait. Say it while they can hear you. Because sometimes forgiveness comes too late. And sometimes the echoes in old rooms never really fade.